Welcome in, everybody. Here we go, middle of the month, ramping towards the next 3 World Cup qualifiers. We will find out the roster here very soon. We will do a video once we hear about it to talk about who made it. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. We know guys aren't going to be there. We talked about it in my last video. The injured players are not going to make it in. Gio Reyna not in the 18 again for Dortmund, so I think that eliminates his possibility of making it. Tim Weah is a wait and see. The core group, I think, is intact. You're going to get those guys like Ricardo Pepi and possibly Daryl Dike, who both played. Ricardo Pepi starting, going 80 minutes for Augsburg, looking pretty comfortable. Getting games is the most important part, obviously, for him. And, playing against a team like Eintracht Frankfurt, it's a really good team. And he'll get to play against some great German teams. To prepare him for this, Daryl Dike coming off the bench for West Brom. They were defeated by QPR, Queen's Park Rangers. And a good sign that he's already in the mix there. So, Luca Della Torre getting rave reviews for his performance this weekend. I think he got man of the match there for Heracles. I think he might be, I don't know if it's a surprise, but I think he's certainly put himself into that equation to be in that pecking order for the midfield. Speaking of the midfield, here on the Soccer OG, check out the Soccer OG podcast. It's the 50th show. I said we're going to have a big guest, my former podcast colleague, good friend from Max and Herc, Hercules Gomez. We're going to talk about a lot of things that, we just had a nice conversation. What ruffles our feathers, what we'd like to see, why we have to stop being a bunch of nerds sometimes, and we will, and what does the future hold? So check that out. Soccer OG podcast, where all podcasts are available. Please subscribe and like the videos here. Speaking of the midfield, we're going to talk about the greatest revelation, I think, to have happened for U.S. men's national team players, and it's Weston McKennie. What he is doing at Juventus is stunning. We always have the gold standard with the American invasion of European clubs as Christian Pulisic, because the injuries we never really could determine how far it could go. Then we had Tyler Adams. Then we had a variety of guys that we looked at, like Josh Sargent. None of them really hit those spots, not at a club like Juventus. Gio Reyna, jury's still out. Serginho Dest, obviously, may not be a Barcelona player that much more, but we have never seen anything like this. Weston McKennie has been an irreplaceable part of what Juventus does. Anytime you watch a Juventus game now, just watch the TV. You have the frame of reference in front of you. He's always within 5 meters of the play. And if he's not there, he'll come into it. The work rate, the awareness, all these things are going such a long way in making him a complete player. This weekend, he scored a goal via the header against Udinese. He scored a goal via header versus Inter Milan in the Supercoppa final. He went 120 minutes. He was the player of the match against Inter. According to the Italian papers, he got the highest marks. So Juventus fans have got to be going bonkers about what this guy is doing. It's truly been the best development, because we have a guy now, and Christian Pulisic is a star, but then we have a guy now proving his worth. Where we've talked about Christian Pulisic, who started close to his natural position in a big game versus Manchester City. Chelsea lost. And before I go any further, and I know I mentioned that he should go to Barcelona, which is an absolute toxic environment right now. But Christian Pulisic still needs to leave Chelsea. And this past weekend, Thomas Tuchel throwing Romelu Lukaku under the bus with his comments post-game. Completely unacceptable. You just don't hear that, but he threw him under the bus. I don't know if it's just this German honesty, and that is not for public consumption. And if you could do that, Lukaku, I think Pulisic, I just don't think it's a good situation. But they move on, and that was not a bad result for Chelsea, losing 1-0 to Manchester City at their place. But let's get back to Weston McKennie. So now back-to-back goals. He has 10 career goals for Juventus, 3 assists. Those numbers outdistance any Juventus midfielder. And think of all those midfielders. He has become the most important midfielder for Juventus. If not for maybe Paulo Dybala, I think that might be it. But look at the midfielders. Kulusevski, Artur, Betancourt, Locatelli, Aaron Ramsey, Aaron Rabiot. McKennie is more important than all of them, and he has outproduced them with duels, with passing, with goals, with assists. He's outdone them. Remember, Juventus were in a real funk. And now they're up to 5th in the Serie A. They're getting ready for the round of 16 in the Champions League. They have a real good shot because they have a favorable opponent in Villarreal. Now we're talking about Weston McKennie being a must-start in these 2 legs for Villarreal if, and I think they will get past Villarreal, a quarterfinal matchup against who knows what European power. So where Christian Pulisic went through this tournament in the Champions League a year ago, Weston McKennie has an opportunity to become a key cog in all the positive stuff that Juventus do. Max Allegri, his coach, has identified what he can do well. He is attacking, especially down the right. Compared him using names like Paul Pogba. Didn't compare him, but in essence, he did, saying that he does a similar role. Paul Pogba, who played at Juventus. Sami Khedira. Who's the other name that Arturo Vidal. That's the players. These are top midfielders worldwide. The creme de la creme. I would throw Luka Modric. I heard Jimmy Conrad compare him to Frank Lampard. It's not far-fetched when you look at what Weston McKennie does because he has the work, he puts in the effort, he has the fitness, but then he has all these technical skills. And now the ability to score goals via the header, which he's done these last 2 games. Also something that Allegri said, maybe they have one more dominant eye, talking about McKennie. Truly a fantastic development for Weston. And when we look at it towards the U.S. men's national team, he is the guy that can take this U.S. team from here to here. We know the midfield's strong. He's going to be well supported with Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa, Luca de la Torre, Gianluca Busio, Kellen Acosta. It's a great midfield. But Weston McKennie is this classic number 8. Great number 8s. That all those names we said, and I said Luka Modric. These are the kind of guys that take their lunch pail and bring it to another level. And it is because of what he's going to do with the U.S. men's national team gives you confidence that they can really produce when the Qatar World Cup rolls around. And getting back to the national team, we only have to go back to September when his career was at a major early crossroads. Thrown off the team for some behavior, breaking protocols we don't really want to get into. We don't need to know that information. A lot of stuff was leaked about what he possibly could have done. Certain ex-players ripped him and said his national team career is over. He has clearly picked himself from that situation, and he has grown. And if you don't see it, you're not watching it correctly. You have seen a guy who is now 23, who is expressing himself and behaving in a certain way. So I give Greg Berhalter a ton of credit for that. Making that strong arm move, talking to Weston McKennie, making him whole afterwards, not doing what others were saying to kick him off the team permanently. Are you crazy? Are you bonkers? None of that should have been. Greg Berhalter handled it perfectly, and not that he could have ever imagined this would have been the end product. But it's amazing. Something was said or done that has physically changed Weston McKennie, because we always saw him. He's part of the appeal of him that I like so much and why he is a marketing phenomenon. And you'll see that now with success here, because as I talked about with Hercules Gomez on the podcast, so check it out, the driving force to make this sport massive in this country is success by the U.S. men's national team at the World Cup and success by their players in Europe. Because we tune into these games just to watch these guys. We tune in to see them play. We'll watch Chelsea and Augsburg and Red Bull Salzburg and Juventus and Heracles and West Brom. We watch these games, and it's becoming, something fun to do on the weekend to watch how our guys play. So those two factors are what's going to make this sport explode. We still haven't gotten there yet, but that is what's going to really move it. You can see the young consumers really getting into that. So Weston McKennie is going to be a big part in expressing that moving forward. You look at what he's done. 120 minutes in the Super Cup. 5 of the last 6 games overall. He has started 3 straight games. He went 90 minutes plus the 120 minutes in the Super Cup. Him moving up the pecking order of all these players, truly amazing. For a guy that had discipline issues in September. Everyone said he was fat and overweight. You can't go 120 minutes and be out of shape. He is not. I like that. I like that he looks a little, he looks like he doesn't look like Ronaldo, okay? But he certainly has that. And now he's leading this charge, second half revival for this Juventus team. They play Villarreal February 22nd. They're in 5th place, as we said, in La Liga, 1 point out of 4th, 9 points back of Inter, who have the lead. So they may be not winning a Scudetto, but after that early panic, I would bet that they would finish in the top 4 in Italy. Their team is different with him as well. He is a guy you cannot put on the bench now just because of what we've seen in the last month. I really am blown away how quickly this happened. The fans will demand it. Max Allegri will demand it. Everyone will sort of push forward for Weston McKennie to be a feature player on one of the biggest clubs in the world, even though they're not in the best vein of form that they have been. By the way, when they lost to Inter, here he is crying. The emotions, how connected he's to his team and his club. He knows it's important. He doesn't want to lose. Based on his effort, you could see that that wasn't the case. Now, Juventus bought him for $23 million. Got him from Schalke. A few weeks ago, there were big rumors about him going to the Premier League, Tottenham Hotspur. He's valued somewhere closer to $30 million now. But to be honest, the way he's playing, if Tottenham want him, the bid has got to be closer to $40 million. It's unbelievable. To get Weston McKennie, that is what it's going to take. Juventus can't want to sell him now. He's too valuable to them. He has helped them move in that direction that they needed to go. And now I can't wait for this Champions League round of 16 to see what is in store for him. He did have some injury concerns in November, the suspension concerns in September, but all of that feels long, long ago. And now I think he's earmarked for the Premier League. A perfect player for that. And Tottenham Hotspur, my goodness, what a great landing spot that would be. But he's got a really good thing going right now. And if the club appreciates him, Juventus is a fantastic club to grow in. They will win trophies again. They will, because they're just too good not to. So there we have it. I would say, and I know I'm a believer in hubris, I would say this is the best development of a U.S. men's national team player since we've started having these conversations here. Ricardo Pepi was great. Christian Pulisic was great. Brendan Aronson. This is very, very special, and we can't see what he has in store moving forward. Big plans coming up. Rest of January, we'll have all the things covered for the World Cup qualifiers, and maybe the U.S. can lock it in. It's going to be weird. These 3 games all in very cold climates. I wonder if they would have reconsidered playing in these cold climates, because this is going to be cold, makes everyone freeze up. It can close the gap because you're not going to have that expansive football. So playing games in Columbus won't be too cold, but playing games obviously in Ontario, I wonder if Canada's regretting that. And then playing it in Minnesota, we shall see. It's going to be fun to watch, but it's going to be an odd one. The Soccer OG, the podcast, the video here on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. We have a great month coming up. I will see you soon.